excellent result today. Finishes like that will look good on your contract reviews. On to the next one.
Hello and welcome back to Formula 1 2019, and we're here to discuss our new contract.
It's time for us to renegotiate your contract. Here you can see the current deal. Once negotiations begin, the team will make you an offer. You can accept if you like, but I strongly suggest we push for
So on Emma's advice, we are going to push for better terms. We're going to ask to be the first driver of the team, so replacing Grosjean, and he'll be relegated to second driver. We're going to say that we can get qualifying and race position of both 8th, which I think is fair enough with how we've been doing so far. We're going to ask for a bit of simultaneous development as well. We're going to go for 2 updates per department. 20% quicker pit stops. We'll go for major and minor upgrades reduced by 1 week. And a 20 or 50% bonus points, resource points per race. So we're going to go for that and see how we get on. So you can see our value is quite a lot more than our current contract value. So actually we're going to go for, have we just lowered that? Okay, so
they aren't coming round to that proposal.
We asked for too much, so the contract value is now above our value, and we're now just going to reduce a few of these things down. We still want to be the first driver. That's the key thing that I want to keep as part of these negotiations. I want to keep us as the first choice driver for Haas. So we've got level 2 for pit stop efficiency, level 1, and level 2 for race bonus.
They didn't like those terms.
Didn't like that one either, which is very, very annoying. And so we're going to put everything down to level 1 and then go for that, I think, because okay, we're going to put race position 8th, qualifying position 7th. No, we're going to keep everything at 8th and then propose. And if we don't get this accepted, then we're going to stay on our current contract. So I'm deliberating it. We're just going to knock down the upgrade speed.
Our proposal has been accepted. The new contract will take effect
and we are
from the next
spot
race.
on the money, which means we'll be going into the Grand Prix in Spain with a brand new contract, which is very, very nice to see as we go into it. So Carl is happy that we met the race targets. Good work on all fronts, and we managed to get through it. Some slip-ups on the pit will almost cost us, but luckily we managed to get through it. Let's go to Spain. So we are back then and ready for the Spanish Grand Prix, going into practice. But first off, a few little updates. So Emma lets us know what is the difference in our contract. Carl's letting us know about the preview. We've got some good developments completed, so the engine power has increased with the new ignition system, and the forecast is looking good. So practice and qualifying, good weather all round it should be, as we make that little error that I always do and come out of the contract and go back in. I think we can have a quick look at the R&D. I'm not 100% sure. I've pre-recorded this a while ago. We've got nothing in progress. We've got 1,670 points. So let's have a look and see what we can do. We haven't got a bad car, really. It's pretty decent. We're looking at a bit of a durability upgrade. And sorry if you can hear a weird noise in the background. My wife is playing fetch with Rude in the hallway. So yes, we're going for a durability upgrade of the MGU-H. I think we go for a gearbox one as well, if I remember rightly. Yeah, gearbox is obviously quite important. If they fail, you can then lose certain gears within the engine. So we've got a 580 point left, so we might have one last hurrah at upgrading something. We look down, so the secondary wing flaps are in development, and the rear wing outer strikes, we could develop them as well. Oh, sorry, the secondary wing flaps aren't in development. We might develop them in this episode. But we're having a quick look and see which one we want. Do we want front downforce or rear downforce is the question. So we're just having a quick flick through. Do we want wind tunnel efficiency? Do we want quality control? I think at the moment it's better to go for actual upgrades rather than the quality control stuff and the advancements in the tech and stuff like that. I think it's always better to get the actual parts on the car. Now I do watch other YouTubers play Formula 1, and I do know that at the end of the first season you get a regulation change, which means you've got to try and earn points to then save developments that you've already made. So we do go for the front downforce secondary wing upgrade, which should be pretty good. Obviously in Baku we had a pretty good performance, and that's a high downforce race. Spain isn't so much of a high downforce course. We'll be looking to utilise a bit more top speed.
And welcome from Spain. The drivers will be needing every bit of grip and confidence they can find today as they try to find their way around this historic circuit in some very difficult conditions. Now I'd like to tell you it's bright and sunny and we're enjoying some lovely warm weather for free practice today, but unfortunately, Anthony Davidson, someone's got the weather gods in an angry mood, and I think it's going to be a damp one.
Well, don't look at me, Crofty. I was hoping for a dry session like everyone else, especially the engineers down in the pit lane. They'll be the ones with the biggest concerns, as a lot of the answers they're looking for in terms of car setup and aero balance will now have to wait until it's dry. From a driver's point of view, there's a big responsibility when driving in these conditions during a free practice session, as there's very little to gain but a lot to lose, especially if you lose control of the car and end up damaging it. And if that does happen, it can put you on the back foot for the remainder of the weekend.
I've had a chat with Carl about the new parts, and we're happy that they've been integrated into the car okay. With any luck, you'll be able to feel the improvement, so give them a try.
So good news that the parts have been integrated correctly from the upgrade.
The track is wet right now. Feel your way around the conditions before
That
you
is the
start
bad
pushing
news.
the car.
The track is absolutely soaking. We're going out on full wet tyres. There goes Roman Grosjean. Just because we're being directed out by our pit crew. And this is the first time you're actually seeing me drive out from the start of a practice period. And look at those conditions. It is absolutely drenched. And I said in Baku we haven't had a race in the rain, and I'm hoping we don't in Spain, because I don't think I'm going to be very good in the rain. But as you can see, we're driving out on our sort of warm-up lap as we come out of the pits and just getting used to the course. Now, Spain is a course I do like Spain. It has some very technical areas of it in Sector 2, some very windy technical areas. A lot of gear changes going around corners, a lot of long, bendy corners, such like this one. But as you can see, it all feels a lot slower when you're in the rain and the wet. But we just got to see how we go, and hopefully we manage to keep it on the track, which is good, because that was the main problem in the wet. Not looking for, and as I said, hopefully the rain disappears by the time we get through to qualifying, or at least even the latter practices as well, because I'm a bit concerned that we're not going to get many resource points in terms of what we can do in the rain, because obviously there's no DRS, so you don't get any bonuses from the DRS. The track acclimatization becomes a lot harder. You can just see we're going all the way down the gears. Actually go one gear too many and drop all the way down into first. As now this is a bend that I don't like. So if you put your foot down too early, you can really spin off. But we managed to hold it in. Go down the right hand. You can just see it's so tentative on the accelerators. Where we come out and then come in round the right hand bend, and then you go into a very, very slow chicane, and then into the final corner and down the start finish straight as we come round this little chicane through the right hander.
In these kind of conditions, you'll be driving into a lot of spray when there's a car ahead of you. Pirelli's full wet tyre can shift about 65 litres of water every second, and a lot of that's going to end up on your visor. So with that in mind, make sure you give other cars plenty of room. There's no need to risk the car too much in this session.
So, as Jeff says, we're actually not too close to Grosjean, so we're not feeling that spray that we're going to get from the tyres just yet. But as you can see just on the screen, great graphics as well. Hopefully it comes across in the video, where the water streams across your screen as if it's a visor and it's going down your face. But yeah, we're just starting to build up a little bit more pace now onto this second lap. The tyres will be a little bit warmer, even though it is very wet out there. We can see we're just starting to hit the racing lines a little bit better. There isn't going to be too much about practice. I just wanted to show you this in a bit of detail because it was in the rain and we haven't had rain before on the game. So we're sort of keeping up with Grosjean. I mean, we're not doing anything too drastic and too pacey. But we come through here, we get foot down onto the accelerator as soon as we can, tentatively. Going up the gears, then you have to drop down one gear to go around this bend. Now in the sun, or good weather, you can take that in 6th gear, I think it is, and just sort of ease off ever so slightly from full throttle. So we go around, so you can see the rain there really affecting our braking. We have to go really wide, then we spin it off and we hit the wall, and that's what F1's like in the rain.
Okay, you have wing damage. This will be a major performance impact unless you box for a new one.
So we do actually finish that lap and go back to the pits and come out with a new wing, and look to take that tyre at that corner a little bit better as we come out of the pits. Having another go in the rain, trying to get used to it, just in case. You can see the back end getting away from us. We go on the grass again, and it's all good fun driving in the rain. Luckily there's no other cars around us, so we're not taking anyone else out. But yeah, we go down into this right hander, into the chicane again, but we go far too hard onto the grass. We cut across it, just about keep it stable, back onto the track, and then gently ease our way around the chicane and into the right hander, where we're a bit more confident in putting the pace down through the car and getting our foot to the floor. But
You're in the top 10 now. Keep it up.
Trying to do the qualifying race program. We'll see how this goes as we go 8th, and there you go. We finally hit the engine ERS objective. We tentatively go into the first corner, then round the second corner. Again, you can get the foot down now in the sun and the good weather you can, but the back end just starts to come out, forces a little bit of understeer in the car as we come through. Now we get the foot down as we go onto the straight, up into 6th, just into 7th, and then down all the way to 4th and 3rd. But it's very hard. The back end goes again, we skid, we're into the wall, and as you can see, we're going to retry that one. Luckily, I don't do that in the races, but in practice, I'm just trying to get used to the rain, that's all it is. I just thought I wouldn't necessarily fool you too much and think I'm an expert driver in the rain, but no, that had a little retry. If I hadn't have just gone to the pits and put a new wing on, I probably would have done a reverse and finished the lap and gone into the pits again, but I'd already wasted some time in this practice session. And driving in the rain is bloody hard, as you can see. I mean, I'm not the best driver. We spin out again, nearly go down the pit lane, over the grass, back onto the track, and see what we can do. We get the foot down, again onto the start-finish straight, where we're hitting speeds of probably around about 170 miles an hour, 175, 180. So we're doing 190 miles an hour in the wet. So it's some pretty good pace. And again, we hit that objective for the engine ERS, because it wouldn't have counted because we restarted last time. As we come through, get the foot down 4th, and then we have to ease off ever so slightly, coming up to 5th as you hit the top of the hairpin, or the top of the corner, the apex, not the apex, I can't remember what it's called. But then you come down, dropping down the gears, and the rain is still pummeling down in Barcelona. Something you don't always expect as a Brit. I'd expect Barcelona to be quite sunny and quite nice most of the time. But obviously it does rain there. But into 2nd gear, really taking it slowly, watching that back end and watching how quickly we put the power down. As you can see, like, we've got aim for 1 minute 39 is our target for the objective for the qualifying race pace, and we're a second behind it already as we're coming into the long right-hander where you ease off, then get the foot down as best you can. We get off, we touch the gravel, we spin, we're into the wall, and that's the end of practice 1. We rejoin in practice 2 though, where we're doing the track acclimatisation mode, where we've got to hit the corners, go through the gates, and do it pretty well as we're coming through. I don't think we even stay for this whole lap, because practice 2 was very, very successful in terms of R&D points, and in the sunshine, the glorious sunshine, I gained a lot more confidence in the track, as you can see with the sort of pace we're getting here. We just go a little bit wide on that one, but still managed to hit it. 5 up to 6th, and this is what I say, just ease off, take that a little bit too tight, get onto the straight, hit the DRS zone, and then get the flaps open at the back. Did the 7th, drop all the way down to 5th, and you can see already how much more comfortable I am in the car when it's good weather rather than rain. As we go through, I have to drop the gears down to make sure we stay tight to the apex of the corner. We foot down into the tight right-hander we go, bending it down, trying to hit the chicane with a little bit of pace. Drop the gears, keeping your foot on the accelerator as you go through that gap, and then down here onto the right hand turn, down the start and finish straight, and should have enough points to pass this program pretty easily.
This is the last lap of the program, final lap of the program,
which Jeff tells us we do very nicely.
So far our fastest lap is a 1:25.2.
And that will see us through to the end of
Session has
practice 2.
drawn to a close, so let's review our top 3. Bottas, Hamilton and Devon Butler. Sadly, it's time to say goodbye as free practice is over. However, we'll be back shortly for more Formula 1 action.
So that 1:25.215 wasn't beaten, and so we did practice 3 and then go straight into qualifying.
You join us today at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, for what's bound to be a really hectic qualifying, as the teams compete to set the best lap time.
So here we are then, qualifying straight underway, and we know we've got some good pace in the car. We've got good new modifiers on the car as well, a bit of an engine upgrade, a bit of a downforce increase as well, as we take the first and second corners very, very well indeed. Now this is where I said you get your foot down, ease off ever so slightly, back on the accelerator 6th, going up to 7th at the top of the bend, and then you just got to drop down the gears as quick as you can. And apologies if the sound is slightly out of sync, I'm not too sure why that is the case, but you go down here into 3rd, drop the gears again as we set a purple sector 1, which means we're currently in pole position, but that wide turn allows Hamilton, as you can see his ghost there, just get in front of us, and we take the uphill bend very well, going down into the hard right-hander, where you just stay in 6th gear but ease off slightly, don't hit the gravel like we did in practice in the wet, which made us spin out and end the session. And then we come down 6th all the way into 2nd for the tight left-hander. We're just catching up with Hamilton, but he takes that corner better than us. Again, you go through a good little couple of bends and come round. We just get that corner slightly wrong. We've dropped to 5th position as we're coming in towards the final corners of the lap. Into the chicane, down the left. Quick bit of acceleration as you go through the middle of the chicane into the start-finish straight. We take it a little bit wide, so we cut back a bit harder. And here we come over the line.
Nice job.
It's 5th on the grid for the Grand Prix in Barcelona, and I'm very happy with that.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Hamilton, Bottas and Sebastian Vettel. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
So a good 5th qualifying position. Grosjean all the way down in 15th. Really, really bad there. A good, like, what's that, 1 second, I think, slower than us.
What does the Spanish Grand Prix have in store for us today, I wonder? I hope we see some tight wheel-to-wheel action down the main straight, circa Mansell and Senna way back in '91, or maybe we'll have a more strategic race here on a track where overtaking can be difficult. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat this weekend. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Now, can I get your take on Max Verstappen? As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Wang and Gasly, Weber, Butler, Raikkonen and Sergio Perez, Sainz, Norris, Romain Grosjean and Giovinazzi, Verstappen, Albon, Daniel Ricciardo and George Russell, Kubica and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
You should have some space going into the first corner, so try to keep it tidy.
So the main thing we've got to do is just not hit anybody on the first couple of corners, and if we do, keep it side pod action so that we don't damage our wing and take ourselves out of the race or anything like that. As you can see, just reducing a bit of the fuel in the car, make us a little bit lighter, trying to extend the first sort of stint on the soft tyre and see how we go. But now all that's set up, I think we're going to go straight into the action and get this Grand Prix underway. And here we go, sitting behind Sebastian Vettel at 5 red lights. We're waiting for them to go out, and there they go, and away we are off. The Spanish Grand Prix is underway, and Perez behind us, or Weber in the Racing Point, get a fantastic start and jump us down the middle. And so does Kimi Raikkonen having a look as well in the Alfa Romeo. As we come down and we lose a couple of spots, we managed to go around the outside, a bit of contact I think with Weber, I think that is, as everyone sort of gets into formation in the line, and we get that place back. And I think we've lost out to Pierre Gasly, and we've dropped down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into 6th. We go round the outside having a look, we can't keep it on track. Can't keep the pace around the outside and have to cut infield behind Gasly again as we can't close, nearly hitting his back tyre. That would have caused us a lot of damage on the wing. And Gasly looks to now get away, and we're trying to keep pace, and it is Lucas Weber, our F2.
The start phase. Now let's build on it.
Our F2 teammate is sitting behind us in his Racing Point. We had a bit of contact with him in the first stages of the Grand Prix. As you can see, we're just trying to get in line with Gasly, trying to get his slipstream and get a toe out of him as now we get heavy on the brakes. Drive down the inside, there's contact, wheel-to-wheel contact, and everybody seems to come out of it unfazed, and Gasly keeps the position as well, and that could have been a hell of a lot dangerous, or a hell of a lot worse, as we nearly lose the back end, taking out the bollard. as we come down. We go really wide as we look to the chicane. That's going to give Weber the opportunity, and he does cake it on the inside of the second part of the chicane. And now we've got Devon Butler behind us as well as we come through. Bottas sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix as he was leading from the front. And now we're looking to get into Weber as we go into medium ERS and standard rich mix. Now that the first lap is out of the way. And Butler, I think, is going to have a look down the inside. We actually have a look down the inside of Weber, but can't make it happen as he cuts that off very, very well. Good defensive driving from the German in front of us as we come through this right-hand bend where you get the foot down right as you can feel the tyres getting their grip. As you come down, dropping the gears, really behind Weber, trying to go around the outside of him like we did to Gasly, but again, we can't make it stick. And Weber keeps the spot as we come into the tight left-hand bend. Right up Weber's gearbox, maybe giving him just a little nudge just to let him know that we're here. No wing damage for us as we go into the off-board cameras and have a look as we're chasing down Weber. But now it's Carlos Sainz who's actually overtaken Devon Butler, and it's the McLaren that's putting us under pressure as we come down now. As you can see, everyone keeping their slipstreams as best they can in front, behind the car in front, as we go down around the right-hand bend, going uphill now. As we come through, we're going to have to try and make a move on Weber at some point because we do have a faster car, but we take that very understeery onto the grass, which is going to give Sainz a chance to catch us up. And again, we're just crumbling under a bit of pressure here from the pressure of the McLaren right behind us, and we're taking these corners not very well, and it could open up a chance for Carlos Sainz as we come across the start and finish straight. He's eyeing us up. Is he going to move out? We can't quite see from this view. There he goes. He does. He goes to the right hand side to try and make the move. As he comes down, as easily completes it. To be honest, we keep Devon Butler behind us, but Sainz makes that move his. And we find ourselves down into 8th position as we come round the bends, and we're going to look to try and get that position back as soon as we can. We've really got our foot down. As we look inside, it's not quite there, so we try and get back in position again, have a look around the outside on that corner. 3 attempts and 3 failures as Sainz is now in front of us. The Spaniard in his home Grand Prix. Fans have been delighted with that move to jump around us as we look straight at his back flaps. That sounds disgusting. As we look to cut down, but again the move isn't there. We don't get it right, and that's going to compromise us on the exit with Devon Butler right up our chuff behind us as we go really well. We actually catch Sainz up with a bit of pace there. DRS is activated now as we are on lap 3, and this will give us a chance. We go down the inside of Sainz. Can we make it count? There's a bit of contact, there's a little bit of bumper cars. As we go through more bumper cars, you can hear the noise coming through as there's connection. Sainz comes back again, knocks us really wide off the track. We lose the back end but manage to get back into spot. And apologies, but I seem to have lost a bit of footage there as it cuts. So probably so much that jump cut. But in that time,
we're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums.
Devon Butler manages to go round us on a very good manoeuvre through the chicane. So we've got a couple of places to make up now. As we can see us there chasing Butler down. We've also got Raikkonen on our tail in the Alfa Romeo as we look round the outside of Butler. Can we make this one stick? No, but we tried the switch back to then come down his inside as he was defending the outside line. As we come through now, we get the inside of Devon Butler and get right in the inside line and take the racing line as we come out of the track as well, the corner as well. And sorry, that jump cut has very much thrown me. As Carlos Sainz is next in our sights, but we are going to be pitting very, very soon as the pit window is open, as Jeff mentioned. As we are starting to just pull away from Butler, it looks like. There goes Sainz, then us, and then Butler, and then a big train of cars coming through after that as we're just trying to get the measure of Sainz here to see if we can do it. As we're on lap 4 as we come through into the tight left-hander. You can see the bollard's gone where I took it out from an earlier lap as we control the back of the car. On the uphill corner where you have to ease off the pressure so you don't lose the back end, and then you come around the big right-hander into the straight, down to another right-hander into the chicane area. We go a little bit wide again, but this time there's no Butler to take advantage of it because we've got a little bit of a gap between us, as this will be our last lap before we come into the pits. As we set a good second sector, can we set a good third sector as well as we go rich and high fuel mix? We do.
We've burned off our excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down.
As we set a new personal best lap with a 127.3, and we're still trying to chase down Sainz. He's just pulling away a little bit. I think he's engaged a little bit more of his ERS boost or his rich mixed fuel maybe, but he is starting to pull away as we've now got a massive gap towards Perez, which means Butler has probably pitted. because the gap between us and Perez is now rather large, and Perez has got a huge train behind him, as you can see on the mini-lappers. Now we do catch up Sainz in that corner. As he gets his foot down, we need to stay in his slipstream and try and reduce the amount of fuel we're using by getting a toe off him to pull us along as we cut that corner ever so slightly, but not giving a warning. And we're actually having a very good lap here. We set faster sector 1 again. We get DRS on Sainz. Can we get into a position to make the move? This is where we had the contact before. We go down the inside and do make it stick as we set a purple sector 2 with our personal best and the quickest sector 2 of the whole race from anybody, as we just now need to keep Sainz behind us. And we do as we come into the third last bend. Round we go into the chicane. And remember, we're pitting on this lap, so we need to make sure we have a good exit from here. And we're not pitting, we're going to go one more lap as we come through. Round we go. And over the start-finish straight up into 7th position.
Give us the best in lap you can.
And we set another best time of 1:27.21, slightly quicker than before. As Sainz is now looking up our inside. Can he make it count? We've got the inside track going into turn 2. And we make that count and more. Bumper cars with Sainz. He gives us a little nudge again, trying to get a bit of revenge as the AI on F1 2019 is much more aggressive as we come through, but we do keep our place in front of him. And this is lovely to see. I think it's been called hard racing is what it's been called recently in F1. If there's any of you that actually are watching the F1 real life series, Verstappen and Leclerc having their hard racing, that's what we've got going on between me and Carlos Sainz at the moment as we drop down into 4th, go up the hill, keep control of the back of the car very well indeed. And now we're coming around the big right hand bend, which is good. Get into the DRS zone, which we don't have, and I think Sainz won't have either. He's not gaining on us at all. So we drop down.
Please. Box this lap.
There has been an accident up ahead of us, and I can't see who it is.
Yellow flag.
It looks like on the minimap it could be a Ferrari. And it is Sebastian Vettel. There he is on the left-hand side. Just lost control and went into the barriers, into the grid and into the barriers. And Vettel being out of the race is wonderful for us because we go up a spot. As here we come into the pits, we go accelerating into the pit lane. And here we come with a nice view. Can we get a good pit stop from the crew? It would be absolutely crucial that we do, as a lot of people are pitting in and out at the moment. There's a bit of traffic in the pit lane. Not used to seeing this, and let's see what they can do. A really good stop. We got a little bit held up by whichever car came in. I think it was the Alfa Romeo that came in and was in the bay just in front of us. But it was a good stop. Let's see where we come out. As behind us, I think, is that Lucas Weber behind us maybe? As we come out into turn 1, take it really well. Round to turn 2. And we've got a lot of clean air in front of us. It's Kimi Räikkönen behind us in the Alfa Romeo. But we have got a lot of clean air. And I've got a feeling we don't see anybody for a hell of a long time. So we successfully navigate around a large number of laps and keep this going. But it's good to see these off-board cameras for a little while. You can see the glory of the graphics in the car as it comes through the long left-hander. Down we go, getting a lot of pace up, drop the gears into the left-hand and the right-hand bend. And we come back on lap 12 where we do actually have Lucas Weber in our sights. So Lucas Weber was always in front of us, Kimi Räikkönen was behind, and now it's Verstappen, but he's a long way back. And now we're chasing Weber with these 5 laps to go, and we've set the fastest lap time of 1:25.3, which is absolutely brilliant. And I think that's all we come back for from this little cutscene, as I think now we don't stay with this lap for too long, as lap 13 starts and we're going after Lucas Weber again, our teammate from F2 and our rival in this save now, along with Roman Grosjean. But Grosjean seems quite easy to beat at the moment as we are chasing Lucas Weber down. We get a bit more pace and then we go onto the grass a little bit with some understeer, and here we come round into second gear. I was wrong, obviously staying with this for quite maybe the whole lap, because we are chasing Weber down and we are gaining on him as we come through, drop 6th to 4th. But we know the pressure's on us to get that place back from Lucas Weber. He's just got to defend. He's got it slightly easier than us. We're going to press and we're going to go for it. We're not in the DRS zone though, which is a bit of a concern. We need to get back to that 1 second gap so that we can get DRS, as we go a bit too fast into that. But obviously the fastest lap does get you an extra point, which is absolutely crucial for us. And Apologies if my throat is starting to go, but I've been ill this week, and my throat is just catching up with me now about how painful this is to do the commentary. As we come through, still chasing Weber as we get into the chicane. We're really going around these corners quickly. Obviously the car getting lighter with less fuel allows us to throw it into corners and try and get the downforce and the grip as we go up to Rich Mix, trying to gain on Weber, but he's pulling away, and I don't think we're going to catch him anytime soon, as we need to watch our fuel management as we're slightly over what we're expecting to use. We go into corner 1 and corner 2, taking them really well again, up to 3, which we're really getting the hang of this track. I mean, it shows the difference in the wet and the dry, as if you can remember that first practice session where we put it into the wall twice or 3 times. But yeah, we're starting to gain on Weber a little bit, but it's not going to be enough, and we're still going to be out of that 1 second DRS zone. As I mean, Lucas, you've got to say, is driving spectacularly well. He's really keeping us at bay, keeping a good gap between us. I'm sure his engineer on the radio is doing a good job of informing him how we're doing and if we're gaining or if we're dropping behind. As I mean, look at that racing line. We actually take that pretty perfectly apart from the end. As again, we're not in that zone for DRS, and that's very, very annoying. 1.1 seconds, so we're 0.1 of a second away from getting DRS. But I think that gap may increase because we're starting to lose our grip on our tyres, as you can see there, and it's really starting to cost us time as we go through these slightly tighter bends, as the chicane is still going okay. Again, just a bit of an oversteer there as we come around into the start-finish straight, and it's lap 15 about to get underway, and Lucas Weber is definitely pulling away from us here.
Okay, you're catching the car ahead, but remember, we need to get to the end of the race on these tyres.
Jeff says we're catching the car ahead. I'm pretty sure we're not, because we were 1.1 seconds behind him, and then that, as we crossed the start-finish line, was 1.9 seconds behind him. So it is proving a difficult race as we come through trying to catch Weber, but I think he's just going to pull away from us with good pace, and we're not going to get that ability. So now we're just focusing on keeping that fastest lap time, maybe beating it if we can, but I don't think we've got the grip left on the tyres to be able to do that. As we come around the left-hand bend, we're actually staying with this for quite a long time. I thought we would cut away by now, but we go through the left-hand bend, up the hill, down, foot to the floor, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th.
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining.
Thanks, Jeff. That is the most useless bit of information I've ever been told, because there's only 2 laps left. So we're into 7th, drop it down again all the way to 2nd, and we're at sector 2. We're improving our sector 2 every single lap. So we really are nailing that as we lose the back end a little bit, forced a bit wide on the corner, then we come in and it's very understeering. We're just really struggling with grip on the tyres, as you can see. We go wide, and that will probably be the end of us chasing Lucas Weber, because he's going to get on that straight, he's going to get his foot down, and that's going to cost us a hell of a lot of time through that. Just losing the grip on that chicane bit there is deadly. And yeah, still 1.9 in the gap, so it's pretty even so far. We're going at a similar pace to Lucas Weber, and of course we did have that error in the last little bit there as we come through. 2 laps remaining of the Spanish Grand Prix. We're still in the points, but it's not going to be keeping in line with our top 5 finishes unless something drastic happens ahead of us. And
The battery is low on energy. Reduce ERS deployment. Gap to car in front is 1.8 seconds.
Unless we have someone that really conks out and makes an error, but at the moment it's us making errors as we're trying to push and push and push to get back at Weber, but it's not happening. And we skip now to the end of lap 16, so we join on the final lap.
This is your final lap of the race.
And we still hold on to that fastest lap time at the moment, which is
Gap to
impressive.
teammate behind is 28.1 seconds.
I mean, come on, Roman Grosjean needs to pull his finger out. 28 seconds ahead of him we are, as we come through now into the final time we're going to take this long bendy corner.
Less than a lap of fuel now. The tank is empty. The gap to the car ahead is 1.6 seconds.
Amazingly, we set our fastest sector 1 finally on the final lap. Can we match that with a sector 2? Again, we're pushing harder. We've gone a little bit wide, but can we get a new fastest lap? Would be absolutely brilliant, but it does look like our fastest lap is pretty secure. It shows how well we nailed that with no traffic in front of us when we came out the bits on the new grip tyres. We do well there, and you can see we're just managing our ERS and our fuel, because we don't want to run out. As we go ERS 4, use it all up as we come into the last little bit. We set a fastest Sector 2 as well, beating our previous best by 0.02 of a second. So we are still keeping a bit of pace, as we know this final lap is on, and that's our last chance to catch Weber. But we're not going to get him. He's going to come through. We go wide once again. It's Valtteri Bottas who wins the Spanish Grand Prix. We know that we've cocked up this last little bit. We turn it home, come round the right-hand bend, get the helicopter cam as we get the foot down over the start-finish straight. And there we go. That's the Spanish Grand Prix done.
Good job, you did really well. Super driving.
So a good 6th place finish. Happy with that. Disappointing from the start, but what can you do?
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
So well done to Mercedes yet again, and Ferrari up there, the two dominant race forces of this season. It looks like it could be Mercedes Constructors' Championship to throw away, really. They seem to be always at the top, just like in real life. But yeah, not a bad Grand Prix all round for us. Pretty happy with it, to be honest.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So we get our 6th place finish. Romain Grosjean down in 14th. Very disappointing from him this season, as we win the rivalries. We'll obviously lose out to Lucas Weber on some of it, but we are nearly close to winning the whole rivalry against Romain Grosjean, which is lovely stuff. And yeah, good race, not too bad. Good pace going through it, getting used to the car still. I just know that next up, I think, is Monaco, and I hate Monaco. If we finish Monaco, I'll be very impressed. If we get round the whole Grand Prix, I'll be very, very impressed. But
Great work. That's exactly the kind of result I'm looking for. Keep it up.
Emma's happy, and then we get a bit of an interview from Lucas Weber. You know, he's being very nice to us. Absolutely, I find it a real inspiration on the track, partly due to our history. We've both learnt and grown as drivers and went through the same experiences during F2. I think we have a rivalry and a friendship that isn't really matched by the other drivers on the field. What a nice man. What a nice guy all around. We have a rivalry and a friendship. Love it. Next up, Monaco. I am not excited about Monaco. It's the one Grand Prix I'm really not looking forward to doing. We'll be back for the pinnacle of the F1 Grand Prix season, Monaco.